I'd like to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order, and I'll ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Cole. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Here.
Mayor Rupp.
Council has before them the minutes from the regular meeting of January 12th. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lewandowski. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes. We'll move on to public hearings, and the clerk will read the first item.
To receive comments on the general needs in community development, housing, and special services utilizing CDBG and home funds.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council regarding public hearing number 1? If so, please come to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, I declare public hearing number 1 closed. We'll move on to public comment portion of our meeting. If anyone in the audience wishes to address the council on any agenda item or any other item under the jurisdiction of the city, now is the time to do so. You'll have up to 4 minutes for your comments. Please give us your name, address for the record. Seeing and hearing no one, I declare the public comment portion of the meeting closed. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Lewandowski. The clerk will take the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes,
could I have resolutions 3 and 4 taken off the consent?
3 and 4.
Yes, please.
Okay. Go ahead.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Yes. Items adopted under consent include the following: confirming the appointments of Renee Stefan Holk, Gary Stolt, and Gary Westrick to the 2015 Board of Review with compensation in the amount of $600 per year per member, and setting the Board of Review meeting dates. Recognizing Port Huron Northern Band Boosters as a nonprofit organization in the city of Port Huron. And the second reading and enactment, an ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally Section 52-162, map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances for the purpose of rezoning the vacant lots located at 1400 Cedar Street from an M1 light industrial district zoning district to an R1 single and two-family residential district zoning district. We'll now move on to the resolutions. Will the clerk read the first item, please?
Adopting a debt management policy.
Do I have a motion to adopt this item?
So moved.
Councilmember Harris, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Ashford, is there discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilmember Harris.
I looked this over in the last few days and tried to look at some of the definitions and things. I guess my biggest question on this debt policy is in items 4.1, 4.2, 6.1, 7.1, 7.2, we repeatedly use the word should. And to me, it kind of gives you I guess a latitude that I'm not comfortable with. I'd rather that it would be more definitive, because if you look up the definition of should, it doesn't have an end meaning. So I don't know how you could explain
The reason
that. Yeah.
under the debt planning, that provides guidance to the administration when we develop our budget and bring you proposals, that this is the council saying that your bond proposal should have this, and it's the expectations that council sets when we bring you proposals. And so it does have some latitude to it, but it's better than what we have now, which is no debt policy.
Yeah, I just kind of understood that if you have should in there and you don't accomplish what you're doing, you failed. So it's just...
This plan was modeled after, to be quite frank, what's been adopted by thousands of cities across the country. And it does have latitudes. You set forth the guideposts when planning major projects that require bonding, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily tie the hands of the council in case something necessity needs to come up. It's more of a statement of values to the bond agencies that this is what we'll try to strive for. And common sense, the capital planning, we shouldn't be bonding out for projects that just pop up, and we shouldn't be bonding out for carpet or cars. They should be assets that have a capitalization for the useful lifespan. So very common sense policy.
Last question. In there, it tells a part about the conflict of interest statement. And I just wonder if that needed to be in there with the simple reason that we already provide a conflict of interest statement every year.
It's just recommended to be in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Any other discussion? The clerk will take the roll.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
No.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Yes. We'll move on to resolution number 2.
Is approving a partnership with the Port Huron Neighborhood Housing Corporation, known as PHNHC, and the City of Port Huron for the Blight Elimination Program.
Do I have a motion to adopt this item?
So moved.
Councilmember Ruiz, do I have a second?
Support.
Councilmember Lewandowski, is there discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, I guess with this, I have a question. I look at this over and over again, and it just seems like the Housing Commission has a lot more power to administer the funds and stuff than the city of Port Huron has. And I guess I think that if it's our money, we should be running it, but it don't read that way.
Let me have our planning director, Kim Harmer, come up and explain, but we are required under the grant to have a nonprofit help fiduciate this. So there is a reason why we were kind of partnered with them. If you can enlighten us, Kim.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The reason is MISTA has required that we partner with a nonprofit, a local nonprofit, and the city already serves as a board member with the Housing Corporation. We have since its inception in 1990, and their sole purpose is to promote home ownership, to strengthen neighborhoods. They've done that throughout the years by either purchasing dilapidated homes and demolishing them and then sitting on the property until they could either build a new house like they did on Chestnut Street last year, or go in and purchase homes and renovate them and then sell them to first-time homeowners. So when you read through the document and it talks about the Housing Corporation, not to be confused with Public Housing or Housing Commission, but the Neighborhood Housing Corporation, it really is an entity that the city is a part of. And MISTA has set it up that way. We really didn't have a choice, but what we're grateful for is because we had already had this program in place and this partnership for over 20 years, that it's going to allow us to do the programs that we're doing right now through our own demolition process and follow those same procedures and not have to really change much of anything, except that we'll be reporting to their board as well as we report to MISTA and as well as we report, of course, always to City Council.
So you're confident that we have equal power?
Our staff will be doing the work.
Okay.
So,
Kim, can you speak to the timeline of the grant and the convenience of doing it this way?
yes, we actually were in conference call with MISTA today. They're anxious for everyone to get on board and get started. We have a maximum of 18 months to expend all of the funds. Staff is going to a training the first week of February over in Lansing to talk about how they're going to use a system referred to as OPAL, which is our accounting system. Fortunately for us, we have also been using that when we did NSP 1, 2, and then when we did NSP 3 as a partner with the county. So we're very well versed in that. There are going to be a lot of strings attached to it. We know that. We talked about that at the beginning, but I feel very confident that we have the staff to make this work, and I certainly would not like us to miss any opportunities that the community might get from the program. So we're willing to do whatever we have to get through it.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem. Also, if we don't spend all that money, don't we have to return it?
We do. What they do is it's on a reimbursement basis, actually, and so you target and identify the particular house You go in, ask for their permission, describe the house, they give you clearance on that, set up the account so that everything goes very much step by step with MISTA. If we don't utilize all the funds, they'll just simply take it back and reallocate it to another community. I don't intend for that to happen.
Okay, great. And then also, this is not our first cruise. I mean, this is part
That
for the
was-
course, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our experience with the NSP, the 3 different phases of it, very
Right.
similar. And of course, what we've done with council's support over the years for code cases, it all falls into the same procedure.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Any further discussion? Clerk will take the roll.
Councilmember Lewandowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes,
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Yes. We'll move to resolution number 3.
Is making permanent temporary traffic control orders number 1279, which is no through traffic on Court Street at Military Street and westbound Court Street traffic shall turn left or right at the intersection. 1280 is rescission of 3rd Street as a through street from Water to Court. 1282 is 4th Street shall stop for Chestnut Street. 1284 Pine Street shall stop for 4th Street. Number 1285 is Wall Street shall stop for 4th Street. And number 1286 Chestnut Street shall stop for 3rd Street.
Do I have a motion to adopt this item?
so move.
Councilmember Ashford, do we have a second?
Support.
Councilmember Lewandowski, is there discussion?
Well, Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilmember...
I guess mine is a question, and it probably would lead me to possibly vote no, is the fact that it allows a left-hand turn onto Court Street. I understand that going directly west on Court Street, but I really think that taking off from that light and being able to turn left onto Military Street is as much as hazard as crossing Military.
Anita's drawing it.
Oh, I was trying to turn in my head.
Well, it's kind of an undesirable position. You're coming up.
Chief, would you care to speak on this, please?
Before I drive off the cliff here.
Off her chair.
It's difficult to show on that map, but my understanding, the reason we didn't allow that was the street was not, it was offset. It was the concern there. Now, let me tell you the process that's going on with traffic control orders. You're going to start to see a number of traffic control orders coming back before you for a number of different reasons. Some that, candidly, the streets don't exist anymore, they've been vacated, the traffic enforcement devices are no longer present, they're not needed, the neighborhood dynamics have changed, a number of different reasons. Some have been rescinded, and others created over top of them, and then record keeping is honest at best. So Sue and myself and the Traffic Safety Committee have taken upon ourselves to go back over each one of these decisions and view them. And we also have our traffic safety officers go out there with the assistance of Engineer Dave Smith, and we do traffic studies, or we take a look at the intersection or there, and we see what type of accidents are occurring. We see what type of generally speeding violations. We put traffic counting equipment out there. We count cars, double axle, single axle, speed of cars, during what time of day. So a lot of things go into a factor when you're looking at a traffic control order. When I bring when I write a traffic control order and sign it and put it into effect, then bring it for you, we've done the study work on it, and from our perception, it is the best plan forward for controlling traffic to reduce accidents or for the prevention of accidents. And it also allows the motoring public and the pedestrians to understand in the most efficient way, and it makes sense. Now, that's sometimes difficult in the traffic safety world that you make sense. But as an example, you're talking about the one at Military Street, no through traffic at Military, westbound Court.
Right.
You turn left or right at that intersection. I'm thinking, I'm trying to picture that intersection in my head. I don't know if there's a traffic obstruction from a current building. You remember, we have a mixture of different sized buildings and structures and that, and I don't remember exactly what the issue was there. Sue, do you recall from our meeting minutes?
This actually has been in place for the signage of the streets saying you can only make a left or a right for several years. We discovered it when we were taking out Third Street because of the new building by Atchison's. And the problem is when you cross across to Court Street where Kerr Alberts is, there is that bump out
It's
of
offset.
Kerr Alberts. It's offset. So you really don't want a car to be driving straight across. Because a car can come down either direction, east of Military Street onto Court. But going across, it's one way and you're off-centered. You can't
I
go
recall
straight
the
across.
offset, if you were to drive straight across, you would actually drive into a parking area for Kerr Albert.
Yeah.
So it is offset, there's a limited curb there, we call it a slope curb, and it's offset there. Some people, trucks generally cut that corner pretty tight and, they go up, but that's a parking area designed off the south side of their building. So I recall it now, that's the reason why there's an offset. And then generally, any street, we have an intersection that's offset like that, you don't want to allow traffic to continue through, because motorists on the other side are then confused why you're not going straight, you're going sometimes at them or in a different direction.
I may be looking at a little different perspective, because you go up there and when you're turning left, incoming traffic on Military Street up until just about Wall Street comes in there at the speed limit or maybe a little bit more. And I know previously when working at the post office, when you come up that corner, you really have to look twice to go to your left.
Well, it's a main
That's the
thoroughfare
only-
for town, it's a busy area, and you're exiting onto a main area that has 5 lanes, right? Two and one, I believe. Is there one in the middle, Dave, there? No? So you have 4 lanes there, there's no center turn lane, so you have to be careful, you're crossing over, both lanes of traffic there. But candidly, the amount of accidents we're having there aren't significant to the standpoint where we would look to eliminate that left-hand turn.
That's good.
Was that the only one, or?
Any further discussion? Thank you.
Why don't you stay up for the next one?
The clerk will take the roll.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
No,
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald?
Yes. We'll move on to resolution number 4.
Is confirming and approving single lot special assessments for the cost of cleanup and removal of hazardous materials.
Do I have a motion to adopt this item?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford.
Quiet tonight.
It is. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz? Do we have discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Harris?
I just got a question here for the chief, was why I asked to take this off consent agenda. I see in some of this is for cleanup for meth labs and things like that. I just wonder when do we reach the point where we have to pay for it? I mean, I know it's a
We've been paying for
problem.
it for several years.
But I mean, as far as logistics, when the landowner can't pay for it or they don't pay for it, I just kind of wonder
We've been doing-
where the city steps
Yeah, We've been
in.
doing it for several years already, candidly, and I budget for it, and lately the cost of cleaning up labs is exceeding what my budget is, and it's my belief that the good citizens of Port Huron, the tax-paying citizens of Port Huron, shouldn't have to spend their resources upon the criminality of one other person or other multiple people that are using their property illegally. So that's why I'm going back after those people that own the property and say, hey, look, that's a money-making venture when you're making methamphetamine and dealing death to our neighborhoods. I'm going to come back after you and try to attach your property or do something to abate the cost for the taxpayers.
I definitely think we should, but I guess that was my only question, is how much of this we have, and I know we've had it over the years, and where did it get to this point where we got to pay for it, so.
Candidly, a lot of people sometimes don't know. They'll rent out their garage or somebody, or they'll go to the Florida for the winter and come back and the garage is burnt down, or the police, they get a bill and say, hey, your meth lab, we have just as big of a problem where we clean a property and it's uninhabitable by the state, and it'll be stickered as such, and squatters or other people just remove the sticker and put their kids and everything right back into that environment. That's a serious problem.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Lewandowski.
Do we see a lot of these and like, do we get the money for them when we put it on the special assessments, or is it pretty much lost cause?
Not too many.
Not a lot, but I mean, this is the only way we could possibly get some money is by having them, so that's why we do it.
I've tried to find a meth dealer that has a actual job so I can garnish it wages. But I haven't been successful yet, but I'll keep looking.
Just curious. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
The clerk will take the roll, please.
Councilmember Ashford?
Composure here. Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald?
Yes. This concludes the business of our regular meeting. We have one announcement, a special city council meeting.
Point of order. Do we have I'm sorry, my mistake.
That was included
It
in the
wasn't
consent.
included in the consent agenda.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we have a special city council meeting scheduled for Monday, February 2nd in Conference Room 408 to discuss goals and priorities. Does anyone else on council have anything to mention?
Just real quickly, if you haven't emailed in your list of priorities you'd like added to the council agenda, let me know. You can email to me or my assistant. What we'll do with those, we'll pool them together, and I'll put all of them, I'll census them all in one document, so you have everyone's proposals in front of you. Some have already emailed in. Some people have just taken the list that we sent from the different departments and highlighted what you thought was important. Others have written their own, whatever you so desire. You don't send anything in, but I will, whatever I get, I'm going to put on one document, so you guys have everything on just one document that night.
Anyone else?
I'm hoping to send that out by Friday.
For the public, what time?
Pardon me?
For the public, what time for that meeting?
6
It
p.m.
is at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Thank you. I'd like to take a quick opportunity to congratulate all of our downtown businesses and restaurants for their superb treatment of all of the Silver Stick guests that we had in town this past weekend. It was an excellent weekend. We had, I think, 77 to 80 teams in town, and so they were throughout our downtown, and they made them feel very, very welcome, so congratulations to them. Anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford. Meeting adjourned.